I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Good evening. It's dinner time. That means that the NBA action is getting ready to fire up. What it is, everybody. This is Dusty with Total Apex Media. With me is my comrade, my homeboy, my right-hand man, Andrew Kim. What's going on, Andrew? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. The last night we had a few big games in terms of like the Grizzlies and the Celtics win along with like the Pistons and after the Luka trade that Mavericks loss was just that's just demoralizing for them.
They were without a lot of players, though, so you can't disregard what they've really done because they were without AD, they were without Kyrie. So I'm not look, me and Lawson Turner, we had a very good discussion about this morning on the morning show. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure you go over to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and check it out what we were talking about. But we said that we actually consider the Mavs the winner of this trade because they went defensive minded. Yes, they've sort of focused on the here and now with but the Lakers went long game, but in the short game, the Mavs won this trade. So I'm not ready to sound the alarms yet with Dallas. But again, the hottest team, and it don't help that when you're out so many players, and you're playing one of the hottest teams in the NBA at this time. So, I mean, they didn't lose to a Wizards team. They lost to the East leading Cleveland Cavaliers. So, I'm not upset, But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, the Total Apex Sports Bets and Total Apex Fantasy Sports.com proudly presents today, February 3rd, 2025's NBA breakdown slate. We're going to be going over where you should be putting your money, what picks you should be taking in the fantasy lineup, and helping you cash those bets. Let's jump right into it, Andrew. First up on the docket, we got the Atlanta Hawks coming in at 4-point under favorites against the Pistons at -170. The Pistons have really started this season off shocking people, in my opinion, if you don't mind me saying. They're sitting at 7th in the Eastern Conference. They've got a record of 25-24. And according to several sources, the injury report, let me pull that up. I had it pulled up. So the Hawks are without Bogdanovic. Trae Young and Daquan Plowden are both day-to-day. Clint Capella, Jalen Johnson, Cody Zeller, and Kobe Buffkin all are out. So, again, this is a depleted, vulnerable Hawks team. If it was me, though, Andrew, am I crazy for wanting to take an alternate spread here? I don't see how, with the way that the Pistons really ain't that good. Let's not oversell the fact that they're 7th in the East because they're still only one game above 500 people. Pump the brakes, okay? Pump them. So, but what's your mind saying? Do you think I'm stupid for wanting to take an alternate spread here?
Yeah, like I think even with like the Hawks like potentially depleted, like they're top 5 or top 10 Eastern Conference team. They could cover, but another way is to obviously get an alternate line. In terms of like the Pistons, like they've been surging with Cade Cunningham, and he's been doing well. So, in terms of like picking the favorites, like it's more of a like 50-50 chance. It might be better to just play it safe and get an alternate line.
I think I'm not scared of taking the Pistons here at a -6. I think that's a healthy a healthier spread considering how depleted this Hawks team is, and they are going into Motown. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm a betting man, you can either ride the money line and throw it in a parlay, or if you want to risk it for the biscuit, as I like to say, go ahead and run an alternate spread. I'm okay with the Pistons -6 at home against a depleted Hawks team. Again, from a fantasy aspect here, people, let's dig into this a little. We all know what Cade Cunningham is going to do. He's averaging 50.6 fantasy points per game, but his price tag also is way up there, Andrew. You're looking at $10,300 on DraftKings. Not too sure where he's probably running a little higher, maybe just slightly under that on FanDuel, as they have different pricing models. But here's the ticket. I don't like putting all of my eggs in one basket with a 10K player, unless it's somebody like a Luka Doncic or a Nikola Jokic, who's going to get me a triple-double, okay? Because, again, the rule of thumb in fantasy, people, is you want to 3x your money. So if you're putting up 10K, you need them to score at least 30 fantasy points to make it worth it. Now, everybody's going to say, but Cade Cunningham's averaging 50. Yeah, he is. But he also has down games, and this is one of those trap games where I think Detroit's going to go in. They're going to win the game, but I don't think it's going to be a stellar performance like people are thinking. All right, this Hawks team still is going to be able to score. So that's where I'm looking at it. So for me, when you think about all of the bells and whistles here, Andrew, what's a player that you're looking at for starting or sitting, or even a lock if you have it? And if it's Cade Cunningham, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Cunningham, but in terms of like the price, like you're right. Like that is, a lot of people are gonna gravitate towards him. A potential like salary saver could be Tobias Harris. He's in the 5.8K range. He can put up double digits like pretty relatively easily. So that's who I would go with.
Absolutely. One of the people that I'm going to be targeting as sort of a lock, with Clint Capella being out, I think a player that a lot of people need to be focused on because of the price point of 6,400 on DraftKings is Jalen Duren. He's averaging a little over 30 points per fantasy points per game. And if Clint Capella was in, okay, that's the size that would be able to really make an impact with Jalen Duren. But I'm not a Kongwu. No, come on now. I like the chances of, with Trae Young being questionable, that's going to really put a lot of pressure on the bench to try to stop a star in Cade Cunningham, which is going to leave some unattended time for Jalen Duren. So don't be surprised if he, 3x is easy with about 25, 27 fantasy points tonight for you guys. So that would be my start of the game. My sit of the game, I'm actually going to run back with a DeAndre Hunter. I mean, he's really all Atlanta has left, and with Trae Young being banged up, Clint Capella being out, I'm not buying in. All right, so Detroit has been better on the defensive side of things this year, so I'm kind of, I'm fading DeAndre Hunter in this one. I am. Now my lock of the game. Ugh. So I like to target the lower end of the spectrum. So from a value play, let's not call it the lock of the game. Let's go with the value play. I'm going to go with an Asar Thompson here. Don't be surprised if Detroit jumps out to a big enough lead where they start to be able to give their bench players a little bit more playing time and rest the starters. This is a good spot for Asar Thomas, and he's already averaging, 19.9 fantasy points per game, and he's only $4,600 on DraftKings. That's extremely good value. You're talking almost a 5x on that. So, Andrew, do you have anything you want to add on this game, or did I touch base on it pretty good?
You pretty much did. I mean, a lot of the time, like when you like Trae Young, like their best player, like an out, like maybe people gravitate towards like the cheaper bench guys to step in, but I mean, a lot of the time it could just be, the favorites just win big and they get their bench players involved, like you said. So you might want to target like a cheap player on like the favorite side, for example, instead of having the other underdog trying to come back. Like they might just spread it out. It's not going to be a very clean game on that end.
It's going to be oogly. It's going to
Yeah.
be oogly, Andrew. This is going to be one of those games of like, oh my God, I can't even believe I put money on this. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is two ugly teams that, everybody's like, well, the Pistons are better than they were last year. No doubt. I mean, how could you get any worse than they were last year? But I mean, again, I'm going to rephrase this. Let's not overthink it. So we're going to go ahead and bring in one of our other colleagues now, Jordan Ramos. I think he's live on the bus, just to show the dedication of my staff. This is true dedication. I'm going to bring him on in. Jordan Ramos, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, boss. I'm doing good. I'm actually in the subway, but I'm dedicated. I'm dedicated to the craft, boss. You know this.
I love it.
I'm dedicated to work for anyone.
I love it.
As long as you don't stab me in the ass.
We got to watch our mouth on air. Come on, we are PG.
Sorry.
We are PG. So,
all
right. So,
best.
Awesome. I love to hear it. So we're going to dive right into the next game. We have the Wizards at +5.5 taking on the Hornets at -205. Injury reports are, let me pull up. Charlotte, only one injury, but he's day to day. And the Wizards, oh man, what more can you say about the Wizards, man? This is a shipwreck from down below. I'm just going to throw it out there. The Wizards are really struggling this year, and they're going to be without Alex Sarr, Marvin Bagley the third, and Sadiq Bey for this one. Jordan Poole is listed as questionable, but from my experience, Jordan and Andrew, usually that Q tag steers me away from them when I'm dealing with fantasy, because that lets me know that the effect of the playing time could be there. And obviously we all know that when we're dealing with fantasy lineups, volume and playing time is critical. So I'm going to start with Andrew on this. Andrew, where are you leaning on this one? Do you believe that, I know something like, oh my God, well, they just beat, the Timberwolves, and like the Wizards won a game. Like every dog has its day. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of ugly, like this game, this is a pretty ugly lineup. I mean, I guess if I have to choose a favorite who would win, I would kind of have to default to the Hornets, just because like no team has been that bad, and like Washington, like even though the Hornets are almost like second to last in the Eastern Conference, like the gap is pretty big even then.
Yeah, and here's the thing. How bad does it make you want to regurgitate in your mouth when you think that you're going to put money on a team that is either going to go for their 13th win or their 8th win of the season? I don't know about you, but that just gives me a sour gut. And, I want to take a pause for the cause, because thank you guys to the 36 people that are watching our show. Make sure you guys drop any comments, questions, fantasy advice that you may need. We are here to help. We will put you on air and make sure that we answer your question fully. Again, make sure you guys go over to the YouTube channel, hit the like and subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and know when Total Apex Media is live. Jordan, where you stand with this game, buddy?
You have two irrelevant teams trying to get some traction in life. I'm taking the Hornets. One's more relevant than the other. Like, you have to go with them in the money line. Like, you can't.
Absolutely.
Like, the Wizards are.
I think it's the better of the 2 points. Yes,
Exactly.
So I think I'm with you guys, but I don't. But honestly, I for aesthetic purposes, I'm actually going to take the Wizards plus 5.5 because I don't think that it's going to be that lopsided. This is going to be like a 3-4 point game either way. But
Yeah,
when you get plus 5.5, that's a hefty number for two garbage teams. Like, let's face it. Sorry, Hornet fans, but sorry, Wizard fans, but let's be real. Garbino plus Garbino means that everybody Garbino. So let's just be real. So I'm rolling with the Wizards here on a plus 5.5. Even if Jordan Poole is limited, I still think he adds an element to the Wizards that should be able to give him enough spark to keep it a little closer than what Vegas is saying at plus 5.5. Dipping over onto the fantasy side of things here. First and foremost, my start. Where are you leaning at with this one, Mr.? I started with Andrew first last time. Let's go with Jordan. Give me a start for this game of who you think that you would want in your lineup.
Oh boy. That you gotta go stars because at least he's improving. That's the thing. Like with rebounding and assists. Like he's not gonna score more than 15 points. Like even against the Hornets and they're legit dumpster and their dumpster.
Sar is out. Sar is out tonight.
Then you might as well start Poole because who's the more healthy one? That's the thing.
There you go.
Like at least
value play. I like it.
No, he'll be healthy enough for at least 15 minutes. Then he'll be out for the rest of the game.
All right, Andrew.
So you're going that.
There you go, Andrew. Where are you putting your money tonight, bud? Because I'm about to throw a curveball at you guys. You guys are going to be looking at me like he did not say what I think he just said, did he? Go ahead.
I
Andrew.
mean, I might have to just default to Poole because I'm just looking at like the starters, like no starter over 5K. Like that is in terms of other than obviously Miles Bridges and Mark Williams, but in terms of that, those three have to be just like in contention, just by default, I guess.
The Apex double alert of the day goes to Jonas Valanciunas. He is the man that I will be looking to target. Look, let's face it. Diabate is not going to be able to body Big Jonas. And he's averaging, he's averaging 26.4 fantasy points per game. He's only coming in at just under the 6K mark at 5,800 on DraftKings. That's the kind of player that I want in my lineups. You're looking at a 5X on that point. And that it's a very, very favorable matchup. It really is. So I'm with it on that. That's where I'm at with it. I like Valen. My fate of the game is going to go up the rankings. I know that sometimes you got to get silly for the millie, as they like to say it in fantasy land. So one of the players that I'm looking to fade tonight is going to be not Kyle Kuzma, but Mikal Bridges. And I'm going to tell you why. He's going to have such a high ownership in such a phenomenal matchup that everybody and their mama is going to be all over that play. Even though his, price point of 9K, I ain't buying it. Like, you got to get different. You got to find somebody that's going to be able to fill out the roster look, if everybody has Mikal Bridges and he drops 50, you ain't gaining no points. You just staying with the pack, and you don't want to just stay with the pack. That's why I went with Jonas as my start in this game, because he's going to have a way lower ownership than Bridges. Bridges is bound to have a good game, but you got to get silly for the millie. You got to find ways to break the mold against the chalk. You know what I mean? So, on to the next game. But before we do that, every once in a while, it's good to do that station identification. Be back in 30. Moving into the next one, let's go to Madison Square Gardens, where the Knicks are coming off of a nasty loss against the Lakers, and this is going to be one of those old-fashioned slobber knockers. Let's be real. I don't think the Rockets have the firepower, the jet fuel, if you will, to be able to keep up with this Knicks team. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the best Knicks rosters that there's been in quite some time. The faith has been restored to Madison Square Garden. And I don't like the fact that the money line is at minus 245 because that's bad money. I mean, it's still low. I mean, you can put money on it and make a little bit of jangle. But at the end of the day, I'm riding that alternate spread, you guys. I'm going silly. I like the Knicks tonight minus 9.5 alternate spread. I think that it is too good of a matchup. They've got that bad taste in their mouth, getting whooped on by the Lakers. And now the Rockets come in, and they're going to be the recipients of revenge. And I just don't think they have the firepower. Who's going to guard Cat? Who's going to guard Brunson? I'll wait. Ain't going to happen, but I'll wait. Where you at with it, Andrew? You think I'm wrong?
Yeah, I mean, you were speaking Mikal Bridges, Miles Bridges from the last matchup, but Mikal Bridges here at 6.5K, like that is I would probably go with him because both Josh Hart and Anobi are potentially out for this game and game time decisions, and he gives roster flexibility. But yeah, I like the Knicks as well, even though the Rockets have been pretty hot as of late. But yeah, Jalen Brunson can always put up a massive game for fantasy as well.
So if any of my cohorts are out there in internet land listening, you guys need to get me one of those little fancy devices where I can hit a alert button and it sounds the alarm. What are the a switchboard, if you will? Okay, I want to hit a button because I've got the sleeper alert for tonight. Listen, people, the Rockets ain't going to be able to do a whole lot good tonight, but who will shine? Sleeper alert, courtesy of your boy. Give me Dylan Brooks at 4,800 points, averaging 23.3 fantasy points per game. It's too good. The matchup may not be so favorable, but at 4,800, Andrew Kemp, homie, tell me I'm lying.
Yeah, no, I mean at that rate, like yeah, it's worth playing for sure.
See, I do have some. I got told no. See, I'm getting mixed emotions, Marie. You need to state it like it is, okay? First she says no, and then she's like, yeah. And then it's like, soundboard. I'm totally confused right now, but that's okay. So, where are you putting your money tonight, Andrew Kim?
I mean, I think the Knicks, home field. I mean, this is obviously not as big of a game like, late in the season, but the fans are going to be in it. I still like the Knicks, like hometown.
Jordan Ramos lost connection. I apologize for the disappear, but he is going against the grain, ladies and gentlemen. And he told me that he is not too confident with the Knicks defense without OG. Now, fair enough to say, hi, Andrew. Okay. So
What's up, Cat?
I am going from one potential blowout to another absolute. This is one of those games that you just load up, dude. Like the Bucks going into Oklahoma. No Giannis. I mean, I'm just saying, you guys, like there are certain games that I don't even I don't even want to touch. Like, this is redonkulous. This is a very bad game for Milwaukee to be without. They're going to be without Bobby Portis. They're going to be without Chris Middleton. They're going to be without Giannis, and Liam Robbins is also out. And Damian Lillard is day-to-day suffering a left groin soreness, as well as Brooke Lopez is questionable due to back soreness. Now, that's to be expected when you're that daggone big. All right, I'm just saying that's a lot of weight to carry around. So, but I think I'm going to get a little crazy here. Am I crazy for wanting to say that I think it could be more than 15 points that the Bucks lose by in this?
No, that it's definitely in the possibility of outcome for sure. Because the Thunder, like SGA been averaging like over 30 a game, like by himself. Like he's been like on a heater. Like I don't know if the Bucks without Giannis could even.
Am I crazy? Somebody in the out there, Andrew Kim, somebody out there, the 44 people that are watching me, somebody tell me I'm crazy for wanting to take Thunder minus 19.5.
I mean,
I think that a 20-point victory is highly attainable, considering how depleted this Bucks team. Even if Damian does play, he's still not at full strength.
Yeah.
See the look. Marie, you can't even say that because you still wet behind the ears with the betting. You don't even know what I'm talking about. But we still love you. No, but in all seriousness, I think this is just one of them games that just bodes well for the Thunder. I mean, they're rolling right now, number one in the West. I mean, the Bucks have been slipping. Injury bug is starting to bite them in the butt. I'm with it, dude. You know what I mean? Like I'm with that minus 19.5. But from a fantasy aspect, that's where it gets a little convoluted because do I want to run with some of these players? Yes. But the price point is just so high for so many of them. Now,
yeah.
I'm befuddled. Tell me, where are you going with this one, Andrew?
I mean, like you said before, like the Thunder, they are coming off like a 20, 30 point victory. Like, I mean, I know the price tag's like massive, but like SGA has just been, Mr. Consistent. Maybe someone like Hardenstein could get a little bit more involved. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about in terms of Damian Lillard how if I would be willing to pay up for him for this game specifically.
I think a sleepy play would be a Torian Prince. Averaging a little over 17 fantasy points per game. They are going against the 5th ranked defense against the small forward, power forward position. But at $4,200, it's a shot in the dark, and he's going to get more playing time with Giannis being out, along with Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton. So somebody's going to have to step up. And when you look at what Torian Prince has been able to do, I like the Torian Prince play here at only 4,500, $4,600. Or actually, it's 42. I apologize. Let me get it right. So I'm sort of leaning towards that way here. Out of that, though, I mean, Caruso's out. I mean, it's just this is going to be. I think you hit the nail on the head. If you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to pay up for one person on this slate, hands down, I have to agree with Andrew. It would be SGA. He's got the most favorable matchup. This is a depleted team. Sorry, no offense to the Buck fans, but even if Damian Lillard does play, he cannot keep up with SGA. Let's just be real. Let's call a spade and move on. It ain't going to happen. This is easily going to be a double-double, possibly even a triple-double performance out of SGA.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first. Mark it down. Take a pitch. I don't care. All right. Anybody? Moving on. The Kings coming off of that fresh, getting rid of De'Aaron Fox trade, coming in at +5 against a Timberwolves team that's been sort of, if I'm not mistaken, been running in the middle of the pack. They're right around 7th in the West. They're sitting at 27-22, but I don't mind this game. I think this game has more potential than some of the other ones that we've covered. What do you think?
Yeah. You got the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, in there. In terms of like the Kings, losing De'Aaron Fox like that. That was kind of brutal to see in that trade for them. They even though the Wizards got the best of the Wolves, was it 2 days ago? I think they bounced back in a big way.
I think I'm gonna roll with you on that. When you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards ain't gonna be at full capacity. He's been battling an illness. He was present this morning at shoot around, according to multiple sources. But still, anytime you're feeling ill, it takes an effect on the playing time. I don't care who you are. I don't care how great of a
Yeah.
player you are. If you are coughing and hacking and just plumb freaking feel like crap, you're not going to play the full amount of time. Plus, you also have Julius Randle, Jesse Edwards, and Dante DiVincenzo out for this game. So I think that this is a game where there's very seldom where I would try to fit in two top-tier players, but this is a Domantas Sabonis game. I don't care. Wait a second. I need to double-check something here. Yeah, I'm all over that. Under 10K, Sabonis 9,800, averaging over 50 points a game. Yes, absolutely. I will take that. There's enough value, I think, Andrew. What do you think? You think I'm crazy?
No, I think that's true. Like in terms of the bonus, like he's been their league scorer basically. So they have an opportunity to also like I know it just said the Wolves like they're kind of coming off a bad loss, but the Kings are also without Fox. Like they're expected to have guys step up, and this is the time to prove it.
Absolutely. I think the other person in this game that I think that I may try to get a little bit of exposure to. I mean, look, people, I run 150 lineups to 300 lineups. So when we talk exposures, Andrew, I think it's imperative that people understand that you want to make sure that you're getting a little bit of all of the studs and a little bit of all of the underdogs as well, because you don't know which one. And for me in this game, I will have some exposure to Keegan Murray. He's at $4,700 on DraftKings, and he's averaging over 27.2 fantasy points per game. That is value that you don't. Anytime you can get a player under 5K that is averaging over 25 fantasy points per game, that is what I look for.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. So that is a matchup that I absolutely love. From an actual betting standpoint, where are you putting your money? You taking Kings +5, or are you going to roll with the Wolves to win it outright?
That's tough. I think I go with the home field. I think the Wolves would win it outright. But I mean, it's going to be close either way.
Do you realize that every game that we've covered so far, people at home, there's trends in gambling, and every home team but 2 today are the favorite. Only 2 road teams are favorites tonight, and we're getting ready to cover one here in a second. But I do like your call. You're right in the home team. Even a partially healthy Edwards is better than no Ant. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So on to what I am calling one of the games of the night. This is just two. This is a true definition of it could go either way. The Spurs, no, they're not. I mean, when you think about it, the Spurs are all the way down in 12th. They're 21-25. It's done. One word, Wemby.
Yeah.
That's all that needs to be said, people. Like, I know the Grizzlies are doing good. They're sitting second in the West, but you're dealing with Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, and all these other. Yes, I know that. But you don't understand the gravity of what Wemby has been doing, even in his second year.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, this is a tough one to call. Andrew, persuade me. Where should I put my money?
I mean, obviously the Grizzlies are one of the hottest teams, but I mean, every time I watch Wemby, like he's just like something surprised me about him and the team. Like he's just like a ridiculous player. Like he's been like basically since the beginning, he's been like a must start in terms of like just fantasy wise. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think maybe there's some momentum going for the Spurs to pull off a potential upset.
The Spurs and Grizzlies have played twice this year already. And both times the Grizzlies have won by double digits. Ladies and gentlemen, play of the game, play of the day. I am rolling Grizzlies -9.5 at home. To hell with Wemby. There's too much weapons. He's one person. I was hoping somebody called BS. I was trying to lead them, people out there, but he didn't fall for it. He went right with me. Wemby. No, the Grizzlies have dominated the Spurs this year, and it's going to happen again. It's going to be a double-digit victory for the Grizzlies. They're just too hot. Wemby is only one person. Jaren Jackson has body. Body, people. There's a difference. I'm taking the Grizzlies at -9.5. Give it to me all day. From a from a standpoint of fantasy, this is just chock full with plays of the days, dude. Like this, both sides. You can run Wemby, you can run Ja, you can run Jaren Jackson, you can run just about any of them, and guaranteed to win at least some of your money back. I mean, you're looking at so plus to add to that little play of the game, Victor Wembanyama is questionable tonight.
Oh, okay.
Ja Morant is questionable tonight. Desmond Bane is out. So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Because I got an idea, but I want to see where your mind's at there, Mr. Andrew Kim.
In terms of the Grizzlies, like you said, I like if John's limited in any way, Jackson could fill in, and step up as more of a full-time player and really elevate his stock. With with if especially if Wemby's out, like that would be or even if he's like limited anyway, 'cause they just don't have another defensive player like that. So yeah, I mean, I would look to Jackson potentially.
So one of the people that I'm looking at in this game, he's coming in at a whopping $4,900, and he's not going to get a lot of exposure. He's just not. But the last 2 times that he's played the Spurs, I want you to listen to me carefully, people. The San Antonio Spurs lost 140 to 112 on the 17th of January. This individual, I am about to give you guys the cheat code, scored 44 and a half fantasy points. 2 days but prior to the 17th, on the 15th, the Spurs lost 129-115. And this particular individual scored 37 and a half fantasy points in that one. So in back-to-back games, he put up over 70 points in fantasy. Ladies and gentlemen, lock in Santi Aldama. If I'm pronouncing that right. If I butchered it, y'all know you know who I'm talking about.
Wow.
Tell me I'm lying. You can't. That's a bold call, but I love it. He has dominated the Spurs this year, and I look for him to do that again. Even with Ja Morant questionable. I mean, I wouldn't even be exposed to get a little silly for the Millie with some of the other plays like Zach Edey. I'm not scared to throw him in a couple lineups.
Right. No, the Aldama call is that if usually if there's like a 1-game trend, it's like, okay, maybe it might work out, but usually if it's like a 2 or 3 game, like you gotta hop on the train before it leaves.
There's just certain players that play well against other teams, and Aldama plays well against the Spurs. With 70 points, over 70 in 2 games. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So, on to the next. Ladies and gentlemen, the first away team to be favored. The Pacers enter Utah at minus 285, Jazz plus 7. I don't even like this game. I don't. I'm like, who come up with the schedules that they put a bunch of turd nuggets? You guys heard me right. Turd nugget games on one slate. They're like, that team's sorry. That team's sorry. We're going to put all the sorry teams on one big slate, and we're going to let Vegas dictate everything. This is a trap game, people. I don't like it. Halliburton is healthy. Siakam is healthy. For Utah, Markkanen is healthy. Sexton is healthy. Kessler, Collins. The only one that is questionable is Miles Turner for the Indiana Pacers. This is a clean game. I am going with my gut on this, people. I'm taking Jazz plus 7. I know what Tyrese Halliburton has been doing. I mean, but he's not up there in the upper echelon, if that makes sense. Like he's only averaging 40.6 fantasy points per game. Like it's not like a dominating SGA for 53.
Right.
Where are you at with it?
I mean, even the Pacers are coming off a good win against the Hawks, but like you said, like it's been more of a contributing multiple players. You got Nembhard and Siakam as well, and then off the bench you have Naismith. So in terms of them being the road favorites, I probably would lean to the home team, even if they're in terms of like standing wise, there might be a little bit of a difference. The Pacers are, the 4th ranked Eastern Conference team, but they definitely could have a potential to get upset in this spot.
Speaking of upsets, do you know what upsets me? When people don't like and subscribe to the page. Look, you
Yeah.
guys, we out here putting out great content. We're giving you guys ways to win money. It's free to hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's free. I take pride, for those of you in internet land, I am the CEO, and I take pride in making things free and helping people win. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more great content. Okay. Uh, I think I'm with you on this. I think that the Jazz, I don't think there's enough credit there. I mean, yeah, I know the Jazz have been horrible this year, but when you actually look at it, are they that bad? I mean, yeah, they are. They're dead last in the West. They only won 11 games, but I think they're overlooking the fact that they do have some key components. But I'm not saying the Pacers ain't going to win. I'm not. I think the Pacers are going to win the game, but I just think that there's an opportunity here that they could keep it a little closer than what Vegas seems to think. This is a
Yeah.
trap game. There's some pieces on the Jazz that a lot of people just don't want to admit that are there. So, from a fantasy aspect, people, don't get too fancy with this. Stick with the big guns. If you're looking to go a little deeper into the 5K range, I would definitely go with a Nemhard. He's averaging right around 25 in the 6K range. I like the Keontae George play, and Mathurin at 55. Again, get a little jiggy with it. And the other name that don't scratch off of your list is Jordan Clarkson. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, Jordan Clarkson. He's averaging 27.7 fantasy points per game. He's sitting at around 52. I like that. I like that. I think that's the play, Andrew. I think that's the play. Because now if you keep them couple players down under that 5K, now you've opened yourself up to pay up for that SGA. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. All right, moving on. Pelicans come in at plus 10.5 on the road. Again, headed to Colorado to take on Jokic and the Nuggets. This is a follow the numbers game for me. I mean, I think that the spread is just about at the sweet spot. I know we're talking Jokic, but I want to make sure he's not out. Because every time I get to talking, I want to make sure that something's not okay. Yeah, so Westbrook is out, Brandon Ingram's out. This is simply put, this is going to be an old-fashioned butt whooping. Come on, people. I mean, who's going to stop Jokic? I'll wait. All right, I'm done waiting.
Yeah, he's been having another, MVP type level season. I feel like every year we say that.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But if you really want to maximize your profit, don't be afraid to take this thing up to minus 12.5 in favor of the Nuggets. This thing could get ugly. I mean, it's not even ugly; it's oogly. Back in the 90s, oogly was worse than ugly. Like they ain't ugly; they oogly. This game's oogly. I'm just saying, it's oogly. And obviously, I think that for a max lineup, I really, really like to be able to try to stack and find value, but I think that an ultimate lineup would consist of an SGA Jokic lineup. I think that's the key. I mean, between those two, you have a potential of scoring 100. Like you did not hear me, people. 100 fantasy points just on two players. I'm sorry, you can punt in one position and still cash your lineup.
Yeah.
Am I lying though?
No, I mean, the price tag is it's still like worth it if you can guarantee like fantasy points. I mean, you might as well just you can go studs and studs on your team, and yeah, like Jokic and SGA have been like probably the biggest fantasy NBA players for this season, especially.
Absolutely. So I think this game is pretty null and void at this point. You know, I mean, there's no sense of beating a dead horse. You guys follow the numbers. I mean, for most of the people that are watching, you guys know fantasy enough to be dangerous. You know, betting enough to be dangerous. It's all about making money, and this is a game that I think has a lot of different opportunities to make and maximize your profits. All right. Moving on, another road team that is favored. The Suns heading into Portland, minus 198 on the money line. The Blazers come in at +5. I ain't too sure about this one, you know. I'm not too sure about this one. I'm not too sure about this one. I mean, I know what my mind is telling me, but you're looking at it from a standpoint of the Blazers are 20 and 29, and then you look at what the Jazz are doing, and then the Blazers, and the Blazers are right there. I mean, the Suns are only 25, 23, and the Blazers 20, 20, 29. So, I mean, there's not that big of a difference. I mean, everybody looks at these standings and they're like, oh, this is the 8th best team in the West against the 13th best in the West. But really, there's only 6 games that separate them.
Right.
Like, that don't impress me.
Yeah.
That don't impress me at all. I mean, and when you look at the injury report for Portland, that could tell a different story. Portland will be without Thibault, Robert Williams III, Tazemore, and Justin Minaya are both day-to-day. For the Phoenix Suns, no injury reports to report. So they're healthy. So what's your heart say on this one there, Bob?
I mean, if the Suns can't get it done on the road, like, you know, with, you know, guys like Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, in terms of like record, like, I mean, what are they gonna do in like the playoffs? Because you know, like they have the big name, but you know, they haven't been able to finish. But in terms of like Portland at home, you know, they just don't have. Well, I'm looking at like the high price guy is Denny of Jita at 6.9K. I mean, that's not. I don't think that scares the Suns that much. But in terms of like record, like you are right though. Like it's only a few games difference ultimately, and you know with the Suns having all the big names and they're only, you know, 8th right next to the Mavs. That's kind of not the best look for them.
In KD we trust. That's the only reason that the Suns win. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm going to be real. I mean, yes, the Devin Booker is there. And we all know what the Suns are capable of. But, I mean, obviously Vegas knows something that we don't know because you're talking about a Blazers team that really doesn't have no official star power. Right. Be real. And they're only given Suns -5?
Yeah, that is that would be concerning if you wanted to bet on the Suns for sure.
I'm just saying, I don't know a whole lot. I mean, this is what I've been told, Andrew, is, you know, Dusty don't know a whole lot. I've been doing this quite some time, people. Look, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. What is it? It's a duck.
Yeah.
This is a duck game. This is a trap game. Vegas knows something that we don't know because that line with KD, Devin Booker, that should be a whole lot different against a very porous Blazers defense. Just saying. So right. I ain't even touching this game for fantasy. I'll have a little bit of exposure to KD and Devin Booker, but outside of that, I'm not. I think this game is the Suns to lose, if that makes sense. And it's on the road. So I think I'm with you on that. Into another terrible, terrible game. Oh my God. I mean, Steph
If this
Curry.
weather ratings are down,
Yeah, this is horrible. Like Golden State, let's look at the injury report for Golden State. I mean, I would not be surprised if one of them. Yeah, imagine that. Grandpa Draymond Green is in the wheelchair. He's out. He's got calf issues. He's got arthritis in his calf. I'm just saying that is not the case. Don't quote me on that. I'm just making a crack. Like Draymond Green is his prime is well over. Okay. And Jonathan Kuminga is also out for the Magic. I'm hoping and praying for the sake of the Orlando Magic that Paolo Banchero is out, but I don't think he is because he's been playing like garbage lately. Like let's just call it what it is. But Jalen Suggs and Moritz Wagner is out. Mo Wagner is out, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so is this a in Steph Curry we believe game?
yeah, I mean I feel like the Warriors don't have a lot going on these days anyway. you know, yeah, I mean they should be if like I think I've said it for like one or two of the team, but they have to take care of business at home. Like they're just not really an excuse to even with I mean obviously the Magic are also pretty bottomed out on the standings. Like yeah, this is Curry basically has to get it home for them.
I'm rolling with the Magic.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. I think the difference maker for me is Franz Wagner. I just when you look at what he's been able to do this year, he's averaging 43 and a half fantasy points per game. His counterpart, who's actually in a slump, which this does call into. I'm actually happy about this, but this does come into effect of a stud off of a dud performance. Okay. I'm actually not scared of Paulo in this because Paulo is in a favorable matchup. When you look at him lining up, he don't have to deal with Draymond Green. I mean, Kuminga's out. So who does that leave him with? They've got Podziemski and who else would it be? I'm not even seeing any. I mean, it could be De Silva if they decide to. Nope, nope. Anderson, Kyle Anderson.
Oh.
So I'm digging the matchup, dude. Like I'm going silly on this one. This is my brazen call. Give me the Orlando Magic to bounce back in this one. I'm actually flipping the line. I'm actually going to take Magic -3.
Okay.
I understand the hype around Steph Curry. But when you lose so many other pieces of the puzzle, I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, when's the last time we've seen the Warriors in the bottom percentile of the Western Conference? I'll wait. They're sitting at 500 on the year. And they're without their dog.
Yeah, it's been a while.
In Draymond. I'm just saying, like, this is a young Orlando team. And I've always been against, I love Steph Curry's shooting ability, but he hasn't really impressed me from a defensive standpoint. He hasn't.
Oh no,
I'll be real.
No.
So he's a shooter. He's not a defender. And that's going to pose problems because Franz Wagner plays defense and offense. Paolo Banchero, if he gets it going, it's a favorable matchup. So I think this is where, you risk it for the biscuit. You flip the line, you make some money. throw a couple bucks on it, hope and pray. Yeah, I know it's I know it's in Golden State's home and all this. I ain't stressing it. So,
Yeah.
uh, the other player that I want to throw out there to watch tonight, ladies and gentlemen, from a fantasy standpoint, Cole Anthony. Uh, he's been on a kind of cold streak, but I think he's got a potential here. And again, you could run a little bit of Caldwell Pope. I think that's a favorable matchup at 5K. He's averaging 18.6 a game, fantasy wise. And my lock of the game, y'all are going to think I'm crazy. I love Wendell Carter tonight. I mean, he's averaging 23.9 fantasy points, and I like the matchup. I'm not scared of Pajetsky. I'm just not. Wendell Carter has proven time and time again he can get physical if need be. For real. Like I've made comparisons with Wendell Carter and his glasses. Reminds me of a young Horace Grant. I mean, for real, he's a dog. Like he'll get down and dirty. So, but who's your fantasy pick for this one, Andrew?
In terms of we were trying to find someone to step up other than Curry. I mean, Buddy Hield has been doing like okay, not much, but in terms of like, well, I don't know if this is the right guy, but I gotta go with Andrew Wiggins. I mean, if they need to put up points, like he's the other guy to do it because like other than, they don't have many options behind, Curry anyway. So,
do you know what team ranks number one in defense against the guard position? It's Orlando. And you know who else Golden State has that a lot of people ain't talking about? Dennis Schroeder. But this is the number one rated defense against the guard position, against even against the power forward and center position. Orlando ranks first in defense against that position. Follow the numbers, people. So, all right. So, again, you guys, make sure that you guys interact. Drop us a comment. Obviously, we're getting ready to close out the show. But, Andrew, any final thoughts on if you had to put your money on one play that we've talked about today, what would it be?
That's the tough one.
That's a $1,000,000 question.
I guess in terms of, we're trying to find guarantees among all the not so great NBA games. Over the past like month, editing NBA fantasy articles and whatnot, all I see in them is other than Jokic, but Jokic and Jokic, all I see is SGA. I just don't see how he would disappoint. Even if he does like his floor isn't that high, or like he only gets only 20, 30 points, I feel like that's still pretty good. Even at a fresh set.
I am locking in the Magic tonight, ladies and gentlemen, at -3. I love that play. I just think that this is a mismatch. Look, don't ever take anything away from Steph. Don't do it. But this is just too juicy of a matchup for a young team. Paolo Banchero has got to break out of the slump, and he has historically done fairly decent when he travels to Cali. So I like this Magic play a lot. Flipping the odds a little bit on them, and they ain't gonna know what hit them. Actually, I want to look that up real quick and see what the odds would be on that. let me see. And of course, everybody, make sure that you take into consideration that I am using DraftKings for my odds. So if you want to get the same odds as me, then make sure you are using DraftKings.com. So yeah, if I take it to -3.5, I go plus 190. That's money. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, from all of us here at Total Apex, Andrew Kim, appreciate your time. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Make sure you guys drop a comment, hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Make sure that we are just not a sports company. We are Total Apex Media. From sports, entertainment, gaming, news, and even living. Yes, you heard me right, people. We do it all. We are a full encompassing media company. We have a lot of new shows that will be launching here soon. So make sure you guys stay tuned. But for Andrew Kim, Dusty, and the whole Apex Media family, we are out.